Hey guys, this is Shubham and welcome to another video of this Android app development series in which we are learning to develop a COVID-19 cases tracking app from scratch. In the previous video, we have learned how to create menu and set menu icon in the toolbar and implemented some override methods to listen on the click events on that icon. We have also designed a progress dialog layout which will be shown whenever the page is refreshed and the data loading is in progress. We will implement this later in this video. So till now we have completed our homepage layout design. If you haven't seen my previous videos, then I strongly recommend to watch them first before starting this video, because when we will write our code in the main activity Java class, we will use the IDs of that activity main layout which we have designed in the previous videos, so you would have problem to understand properly. You can find the link of my previous videos in the description below, or you can click on the I button at the top right corner of your screen. In this video, we will learn how we can get the data in JSON format from the API which we are using in our app using Volley library, and we'll load the data into our app. So let's get started with the video without wasting any time. So here we are in our project. I will first delete all those dummy text which we have written in the activity main XML layout to see how our app will look like with all this data. We are going to load the real data from our API and load the texts with these data. So we don't need any dummy text here. So let's quickly delete all those dummy texts first. So we have deleted the dummy text here. Now we will go to the main activity Java class. So we are in the main activity.java class. As you can see, there are three override methods present inside our main activity class. The first method, which is Oncreate, it is the default method of the activity class which gets executed when the activity is started, or in simple language you can say when you open a page in your app, the Oncreate method inside the activity class associated with your page is called. Now the second method is on create options menu. This method will be called and create a menu in your activity when the activity is started, and inside this method you can inflate or load your custom menu which you have created as we did in the last video. And the third one is on option item selected. So this method is called when we click on any item of the menu, and inside this method we can define what we want to do if a menu item is clicked. Actually, I've already written my codes for today's video and pushed it on my GitHub repository. So as I analyzed from my previous videos which I have uploaded, that it's taking huge time to write the full code and explain at the same time in the video, and I'm sure that it will make you guys bored, as just writing full code is doing nothing but just increasing the video time only. So here the approach I'm going to use is like I will copy the codes from my GitHub repo directly and step by step and explain you guys each line. And if you guys have any suggestion for the approach, feel free to add your comments in the comment section below. And anyhow, I will give the link of my repo in the description below, so you will get the codes from there. Don't worry about the codes, just focus on the logic explanation, how we can implement the codes in our Android app. So let's get started. So here we are in our main activity class, and we will first initialize our views, the UI views, which we will implement later. So we will go to our repository here. I will just copy the first line and I will paste it here. So these are basically the text views which I have initialized here. This is for confirm cases, this is the confirm new, this is active new, recover new, death new, tests and test new, and date and time. So these are the views. Now we already define these fields. Now we will initialize it. So before initializing, we will add this also, because these two layouts should be the layout which we will use for the click events, as I will show you in the activity main. So this is the button. You can see at the below, this is state data and world's data. So on state data, you will see that this is under the layout, linear layout. So I've given it an ID, so I will use this one to fetch this linear layout. Means I will add the on click event on this layout for the state data, and for the world's data I will add click event on this linear layout. That's why I have taken the two linear layouts here. So now what I will do, I will quickly initialize our all the views. So as I told you already earlier, when you open the app, the first method which is called is the onCreate method. So inside the onCreate method, we will initialize our views. So we will create a function here, so under which we will initialize all the views here. So here we have all the views. So we will create a function in it, and inside this we will initialize all our views. So this how we can initialize our view, by uh, writing a method find view by id. So inside this id we will pass the parameter of that id. So for the text confirmed, as you can see, we have, for the text confirmed, we have uh, the id this activity underscore main underscore confirmed underscore text view. So I'm using this id and passing that id into this find view by id method, and this is assigned to this tv underscore assigned text view which we have created. So as like similar to this tv underscore confirmed, we have added for all these text views and initialize it with their respective IDs from the main activity mail XML file. So for active, we used this activity underscore main underscore active text view. So we have initialized all our text views in which we have to set the text from the API. Now, two more things we first have to define. The one is the swipe refresh layout, and the other is the this pie chart. So these two things we have to first define, and we are uh, writing every views as a private, because we are going to use these fields inside this class only, this main activity class. That's why we are putting all the fields as private. So we have defined our this swipe refresh layout and pie chart. Now we will initialize that also. So from initialize, we will first initialize our pie chart and the swipe refresh layout we will define. So here we have passed the ID of that pie chart which we have added in our layout. So as you can see, this is the ID activity main pie chart, and we have added the same here in the pie chart. And the swipe refresh layout, we have added this ID to a swipe refresh layout. So this ID we will use to initialize our swipe refresh layout field. So we have almost initialized every view. So now we will proceed further. So after initializing all the views, we will write a fetch method. Inside Oncreate, we will write another method, which is fetch method. So what this method will do, this method will fetch the data from API, and it will load the data into our views which we have created, this text views, TV, confirmed, and all. So first thing we will do is we will create a request, JSON request through Volley library, which we have added in our dependency. So this request queue, uh, we are initializing and creating a request queue, and we have initialized our URL. So this is our API URL which we are going to use. So I will show you what is under this. So basically we have a JSON format data in this API. So this is updated by the website owner, so we don't have to worry about that. So it is the nested array of JSON. So as you can see, the first object is cases time series, but we are not going to use this one. We will use the test state-wise data. So if I search state-wise, so you can see the second object is state-wise, and under this we will see there is a array of objects. So first object is for the state total. So the total means the overall data for India. So we will fetch the data from this one for India, and it doesn't contain the sample tested. So for that we will use a different uh, object. So this is the tested object, and inside this we can see there are multiple entry here. So this is the oldest entry. So we will scroll down to the last, so it will tell us today's entry. So just scroll down. So this is the last entry, and as you can see, the update timestamp is today's date, 8th 7 2020 9 p.m. So this is the updated data for the test samples. So we will take the data from here. So, so cut it for now. So I have added the API URL here, and we have added the request queue. We have defined our request queue here also. So the next thing we will do is we will first uh, clear the pie chart. Okay, so this will be necessary if you already loaded the page. Then the next time when you do the swipe refresh, so it will clear the pie chart, and again it will show you an animation. So that's why I need to clear the pie chart every time when I fetch the data. So I will first clear the pie chart and then fetch the data. So now I will create a JSON object request. So I will create a JSON object request. So here the parameters which I will pass is, the first one is the method, HTTP method. So so we are fetching the data, means we are requesting the data from the server. So we are using the get data. So this is basically int type. So uh, we want the data, so we are requesting for the data from server. So we are using get. So if you want to post the data, means submit the data to the server, then you can use post. So here I'm using post because I am requesting for the data from server. The second parameter is the URL, the API URL will from which we are fetching the data. the API URL. The third one is the sorry, JSON object. The third one is the JSON object. The third one is JSON object. I'm here currently it is showing listener, but don't uh, take it as listener because I need to add the response listener. Okay, but I made some mistake here. Okay, new response listener, sorry. Okay, new response listener. This is the fourth parameter which I have added, and the last one is error listener. Okay, so our so we have created our JSON object request. So I will quickly summarize everything which I have added. The first parameter which I passed here is the HTTP method. So I'm requesting for the data from server from the API. So I am using here get. The second parameter which I pass is the API URL, the API, the link which I will request, for which I will send the request. And the third one is the JSON request. So I have this JSON request is the object, JSON object, which you will send to the server. So I am not sending anything to the server. So it is I'm putting it as null. So if you want to send some data, some object in response of your request, then you can add any object here. But if you don't want to send any object to the server, then leave it as a null. Okay, and the fourth fourth parameter will be a function, return function, callback function, which is the listener. So it will listen to the response which you will get from the request. And the fifth one is the error listener. So if any error occurs, then it will listen to this callback function. So this is clear. I think this will be clear to you guys. So let's go further. Now inside on response method, we will write our code. So first we will initialize our arrays. Inside this, we will create our JSON arrays and initialize it as null for now, because the data in the JSON is in nested array format. So we will have to fetch and store the data in JSON array. That's why we have created two instances of JSON array. Now what we will do, we will add the response in this JSON data. So first I will add the state wise. So as I showed you in this API, the first array was this cases time series. The second was let me show you, the state wise. So I want to use this state wise data. So what I will do, I will fetch the data for this state wise. So that's what I'm doing here. I am fetching the data for state wise, but it is showing some error. So just hover over this and you will see a suggestion to surround it with the try and catch. So just do that as it says. So we have surrounded our code with the try catch. Now the error is gone. So we have fetched the array of this state wise data and stored it in this variable all state JSON array. Okay, now the second thing what we will do is we will create a JSON object. Okay, so we will create a JSON object and named it as JSON underscore India, because this data is for India, the total states, and we are fetching the first object of that array. I will show you, because it is the index I have given is 0 of this all state JSON array. So the all state JSON array is exactly what it is. This state wise, this state wise is the whole, including this and this, including every object, and we are fetching the first object by using the index 0. So this will be returned, and we will get store it in this variable data underscore India. So I hope you can understand this. If you are not able to understand, please let me know. And after that, we have stored our first index, this one, in the India underscore data. So here I can see the active cases count. This one is the active cases count, confirmed cases count, deaths, and delta confirmed is the new confirmed cases, which is updated from the last update date, and the delta dates are the new dates, the delta recovered are the new recovered, the last date updated time was this data is updated last time, and this is the recovered cases, and the state is total. It means this data is for whole over the country India. So we will fetch the data. I will show you how you can fetch the data. So fetching the data, I will just copy this whole thing and paste it inside here. So as I didn't uh, define these strings, let me first define these strings over here. So we have defined our strings: string confirm new, active new, recovered new, death new, test new, and last update time. So we will fetch the data, and we will store all the data into these strings. So here what I did is, for the string confirmed, we are fetching the data India array, in which we are storing this, the first object of this array, the state wise, and we are fetching the data and the value by writing the name of the property. So here confirmed is this confirmed, so the value associated with this confirmed will be stored in this confirmed string. So same way, in the string confirmed new, the delta confirmed value will be saved in this. So delta confirmed value will saved in this. So make sure that you will spell well, means there is no any misspell, because if it happens, then you can't see the data. So exactly, you can type directly from here, just copy from here and paste it here. So like that. So similarly, I have added all these. Now for test data, actually we don't have any text data here. So we need to check another array. So this is the second array state-wise. We have a third array in this JSON data. See, this is tested. So we will fetch this tested data, and let me show you. See, that's why we have created this another JSON array. So we will add this, and we will add the tested array inside this test data JSON array, and which object we will take. We will take the object of the last data, because the latest data is appearing at the last. See, this is the last data, and the update time is this 8/7/2020, and if any new data comes, then it will load in below this. So how can I fetch the last data here from here? So we will directly fetch the data like this. We create another JSON object. We called it test data India. You can call it anything you want, and we are fetching this array, and we are taking the last index of this array by calling this data underscore JSON array dot length -1. So here we did -1 is because all we know that the array is starting with 0 index. So if an element is of 5 element, if an array is of 5 element, then the last element's index will be 5 - 1 4, because the index is starting from 0, then 0 1 2 3 4. So we have total 5 elements, and the last element's index will be 4. That's why I uh, do the -1. So from here we fetched our last object of this array, and now we have initialized the total samples tested and assigned it to the string tests. As you can see, we have total uh, total samples tested, you can see here, and the total, where is the new cases? The samples reported today, yes, this one, samples reported today. So these two fields we will use from this object for the test data. So this part is done. Now what we will do, we will use a handler. Okay, so basically handler is used to make some delay to your calls. So I will show you. So handler, we will use handler, and type any name you want. So I have given it a name delay to show progress. So I will delay this call like 1 minute, like 1 second, so that you can see this progress dialog. So, and we will initialize it, and we will create an object of handler class. Now what we will do, we will write delayed dot post delayed, and inside this we will create a runnable, implement the runnable, and we will give it a delay of 1 second. Okay, so here uh, this is milliseconds, that's why I've written 1000, so it means 1 second, it is 1 second. So inside this we will set our text views. So we will quickly set our text views here. So actually the active new means new cases for active, it is not present in this API. As you can see, for this state-wise data, if we go to the state-wise data, you can see we have active cases, confirmed cases, confirmed death, delta, that means new confirmed, delta confirmed means new confirmed, delta deaths, new deaths, delta recovered, new recovered, but we don't have delta active. So we will calculate the delta active, means new active cases, by ourselves. So you can see, you will see that later. So we have added our code. So basically what I did is I have created a handler, I have initialized it, and I created an object of this handler, and I called this method post delayed, and inside this I called a runnable method, which will delay this call it will delay this call means after 1 second. So after 1 second, this under this method, this quotes will be called after 1 second. So what I did is tv the underscore confirmed. So this is the text view, and we are setting the text inside this text view. So the method which is used to do that is dot set text. So write tv underscore confirmed dot set text, and inside this we will pass a string. So make sure that you will pass a string inside this set text, because it will throw an error if you try to put any integer or float value inside this. That's so you have to be confirmed that it should be string value. So what I did is I basically formatted the value, because if I directly use the str confirm, then it will be like just number 1 2 3 4 something something. So I will simply formatize it, like if this is 1 lakh, then we will give it like this. It's comma, it's for nicely formatted. So what I did is I first change this string into integer. So just by writing integer dot parse int, and inside this we will pass our string, which is a number. So it will convert this string into a number, into integer, and then we will use the number formats method, which is format, and inside this we will pass our integer, and this will return us the number with a good format with comma, but that the return value will be string. That's why we have this method will return us a string with a good format for that number. So that will it will be assigned to our tv underscores confirmed text view. Similarly, for the confirmed text view next new, we have done the same thing, set text, and inside this we have formatted our string confirmed new. First converted it into the integer, then change the format and return it as a string. And here you can see we have added a plus. So I have concatenated these two. The second one is a string and the first one is a string, and we have used the plus operator to concatenate those two strings, so that it will look good. Means like if it will look like new cases added. So I have added this plus in like a prefix. And similarly for the others also, for the tv active, as we have used str active, but the same way for the recovered new, dates new, test new. But for the active new we have used a formula. For active new we have calculated this active new, like first we have casted this confirm new into the integer, and and the recovered new and the death new. So we have added the recovered new and this and the net death new, and subtracted it from confirm new. So by this way I am getting the active new, and it is a int variable. So I am directly assigning it to this method, format method, because it is already a string. So I don't have any to use this parse int. So I have directly added this int, and it will return me a string, and I have concatenated a plus sign before that. So that's what I did for this. And let's check uh, how this code is working. So just click on run and see what it's happening. Okay, it's installing. Okay, it's yes, it's installed. Okay. Oh, sorry. One thing I forgot actually. So you have created this JSON object request. simply, but you didn't added this object request to this request queue, so you have to add this JSON object request to the request queue. Okay, this line you don't forget because otherwise your app will not work. So let's again run this app and let's see the results. Okay. Okay, you can see the data is populated. Sorry for this icon. I've used I'm using the free version of this app, so it is showing this. And we have our confirm cases, and we will match it with our API. So let's get to the API here and the state wise and open the app. Okay, so you can see the confirm cases. We have 769041, we have 769051, 52, sorry. Just think there is a okay, let me refresh this page again because yes, yes, sorry, actually the data is updated. That's why, and this API page was opened since far like 10 or 15 minutes. So now you can see the data is aligned. For confirm, this is from API, this is 769052, and in confirm we have 769052. For active, we have 271254, 271254. For recovered, we have 476554, 476554. For deaths, we have for 21144, 21144. So, and these are nicely formatted as I have added the format method here. So we have successfully fetched our text, our data from the API and loaded it in our text views. Now we will add our last updated date and time. So I have used different text views for dates and times, but I am getting the last updated time in this format. So I'm getting a string which is including the date as well as time. So how can I add it separately? So let's discuss about that. So I will go to my repository and where it goes. Yes, this is the which function which I have created to distinguish, means differentiate between the time and the date. So just copy this and paste it inside our folder class. Okay, so what this function do is, so if we pass test case and date, so this date is the string which we are getting uh, from that API. So this is the string which I am getting. Okay, so I already added, so this string I will pass. Okay, so I've already fetched the data for last updated time, and I am storing it in a string last update date. Now I will assign this, I will first divide the time and the date, and I will assign to the different text views. So here are the two line of codes. So what is done here is basically for the time text view, we are setting the string which is returned by this function format date. So this format date will return me a string, okay, and we are passing our date time which we have received from the API, containing the date and the time both, and we are passing one for date and two for time. So if I pass 1 in the second parameter, it will return me the date only, and if I pass 2 in the second parameter, then it will return me the time. So let's see the function, how what is the function, how it works. So copy this. Okay, actually I have copied already, right? Yes, I have copied already. So what I did is I've created the same function format date, and the parameters are the string and the second one is int. So I have passed here the date which I have received from API, and the second one is test. So for date I passed 1, for time I passed 2. So let's see for the date. So for the date, we have first pass our date to mdate. We first assign a variable of date mdate and initialize it as null. Now what we did is we assigned our date with a format of this ddmmyy okay. So we have assigned this format of date to our mdate variable, so using this simple date format which is predefined method. So we have assigned the date to mdate. Now we have both date and hours, means time, in pattern, in this pattern inside this mdate variable. Now we will split this mdate and return the string as per our need. So so for 0, please leave it if we didn't use 0 in our code. So we used only 1 and 2, 1 for date and 2 for time. So if we pass the test case as 1, then the date format is equal to date format is a string we have defined here, so which we will return from this function. And here for the date format we are assigning only the date, the pattern date, using this simple date format method. So it will take the data for the date only from this mdate. So so in mdate we have added the whole date and time, okay, as a date format, because we are receiving this date as a string, right? We are receiving the date as a string, but we are parsing this date into a date format in the mdate, right? In the mdate we are passing as this format, date ddmmyy and hhmm. Now what we did is, if I pass 1 for so we want to fetch only the dates from here. So we fetch the dates like we just use this simple date format method, and we will pass a pattern in this parameter. So we want the return value like ddmm and yy. So it will return me the dates, and we are taking that from this mdate. So it will return me the date format in date for date. And if I pass 2 here, then it will give me a format of time, see, and we are returning this uh, date format. And if you pass anything else besides 0, 1 and 2, then you will get an error. So let's test this one, because I have already added these two. So let's run quickly our app. Yes, Gradle is built. Okay, our load is App is loaded. See, you can see the last updated day, updated time and date. So this is below is the date time text view, and the above is the time text view. So in the time we are seeing the data as like this HMMM and A. So 106 AM or PM anything, and the pattern of date will be like DDMMM YYYY. So 09 JUL and 2020. So it's like this fetched from the string. So now we will add our this pie charts animation and addition of the colors. So these are the codes for. So after loading all the text views, we are assigning the pie chart. The pie chart we have already initialized in our init method. So you can see pie chart is in init method, and we are adding a method here, add pie slice, and we are creating an object of pie model, which we are getting from we have already added the dependency for pie chart. So we are directly using the this by initializing an object and passing here the attributes, means labels. So for active we are using this the first parameter we pass is the label of the first one, the first color, and the second parameter will be the number, means the in the pie chart what number will you assign to the first item. That is, so as we know the active str is in a string, so we are casting it to an integer, so it will work fine in the pie chart. And the third parameter is the color. So you can add any color you want uh, um, in the form of hex code. So you can google for the colors and you will get the hex code for your colors. The second item for this pie chart, the same code I used, and the label is recovered, and the same I casted the recovered string here and used a different color. And for deceased means deaths, so I have used the string death and casted it into int and used a different color. And the last code which is added is the start animation. So this will show you animation of the pie chart. So let's quickly see the results. Okay, the app is loaded. You can see this is the animation, and you can see this app is means you will get the data after 1 second because we have added the handler and the post delay. So we will just quickly check again. So you can see there is some delay in loading the data. See, for 1 second you will not see the data. So now what we will do, we will add our loading layout so that it will look like it means look nice. So for 1 second it will load, it will show the loading progress dialog. So to add that one, what we will do, um, we will add a show dialog function. Okay, so here you can add this show dialog method anywhere. Okay, and this progress dialog is not defined in our class, so we will first define it on in our class. So it is defined. Now we can use it. So what I did is first I initialize it by writing progress dialog equal to new progress dialog, and inside this we have passed the context which in which we are using this dialog box. So in case of my main activity, you can write this because you are using this loading progress inside this main activity, or you can write main activity this also. So you can write both. I'm using short form, so it will be nice. And the second is we will write dot show to the progress dialog, so it will show the dialog once this function is hitted. The third one is set content view, so we have to add the content which we have created. As you can see, the progress dialog which we have created in the last video, so we will add this content to our dialog box. So we are using the set content view, and inside this method we will pass the layout name. So how we can pass the layout name? We can write r dot layout dot and the layout name progress dialog. As you can see, the layout name is progress dialog. So you passed, you have attached this view to the progress dialog. Now another thing is, if you want to disable the automatic cancellation of that progress dialog on screen, sometimes you can see if you touch on any on screen, this progress dialog goes, means it cancel automatically. So to refuse that, to limit that, you can add it as false, and you can also set the progress dialog cancelled, set cancelable false. So you cannot cancel this dialog until our page is refreshed. So I am not doing this, because if user want to go back, he cannot do the back button. So he has to forcefully close the apps. That's what I don't want. So I will just uh, false this set cancel on touch outside, so it will just do the work. Now this last thing is I'm adding a transparent window to this layout, so it will look nice and colorish. So I will show you if I remove this line, what will happen. I will show you also that. And the second function which I will use is hide function, means dismiss the dialog box. Okay, so where we will use these two functions in our fetch data. So whenever the data is started fetching, we first show a dialog box, okay, at the starting of this fetch data. So here the dialog box will be shown, dialog progress will be shown, and where we want to dismiss that. So once our data is loaded into the app, then we will call the dismiss dialog. Okay, and we will also add the fetch. If we want to fetch the app, how can we fetch? So there is a function, there is we will add the listener to our swipe refresh layout. So how can we add? So inside this onCreate method we will add our swipe fresh layout. So write swipe fresh layout and set on fresh listener inside this, and we will create an object of swipe refresh listener dot on refresh listener. So whenever you refresh, means hold the screen and put down it and refresh the page, it will call this function inside this on refresh. So whatever you write in this, it will be called when you swipe refresh the page. So what I did is, here I just recall this method fetch data. So whenever you swipe the screen down, then it will fetch the data, and after fetching the data, it will uh, uh, set this set refreshing to false, means it will remove uh, the screen, means it will while refreshing the swipe refresh layout, you will see a loading screen at the top. So that will be invisible after this refreshing part is done. So that this line will do that to hide that loading screen. So let's quickly check our app whether it's working fine or not. Okay, so our app is open. Now we will refresh it. So you can see it is refreshing. Yes. Again refresh, 1 second and refresh. Okay. And if we close this and again run this, if it open, after refreshing, you will see the data. Okay. So I think this part is done for today's video, and we will set the click listeners to these two buttons, the state data and the watch data. So how can we do that? So we have already added this linear layouts, so we didn't have initialized this, so we will quickly initialize these two fields here in below. Equal to sorry, find view by id r dot id dot. So what's the id of this? We'll quickly check from this state data. So this is the id for the state wise data, and for this world data we will add this id. So we have initialized our linear layouts for on click. Now we will set the click events. So the click events we will add inside the same on create method. So inside on create method, write the lean state data, and we will set the on click listener. So just write set on, you will get the option. You just hit enter, and inside this you will pass, you will create a new means object of on create listener, and it will automatically create a method inside this on click, and whatever code you will write here will be executed when you click on this button. So I will quickly show you the toast if anyone click on this button. So make toast and pass the main activity here, the context, first parameter, second parameter is uh, the message, so state data, and the third parameter is the length and show. So this is for the first linear layout, and second one is for the lean words data. So let's check quickly in the app what will we see. Okay, looks good. And here if you click on this world's data, you will see the pop-up, this toast message, state data, world's data. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new to my channel, and I will post the link of this repository, my repository, in the description below. So just check out the codes. If you missed anything, you can ask in the comment section. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the another video.